Paradise Production.
What's happening? Welcome back to another edition of the Minor League Take. I'm your host, Brad Case, and this week on the podcast, we got Austin Pope. Austin played over at Fairfield University over in Connecticut. Played 3 years there, was a stud, got drafted by the Diamondbacks, and has been grinding the minor leagues ever since. I've known Austin for a long time now. We were both going to the same pitching coach when we were younger, Brian Slocum, who played for the Indians back in like the mid 2000s. But hey, Austin has worked his butt off and he's gotten really, really far in this game. So I'm happy to have him on and for him to share a story with you all. As always, this is brought to you by, More Than Baseball. Go check them out. As always, go check out Advocates for Minor League Baseball. They are awesome in everything they do and what they're fighting for, for me and the other minor leaguers that come on this podcast. So I really encourage you guys to go check them out. And as always, enjoy, guys, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Welcome to the podcast, Austin Pope. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, man.
You're good? You freezing your nuts off there up in New York?
It's cold today. It was snowing. So, I got my training indoors today.
Nice. You still going to Game On 13?
Yeah.
Over there
I got
Holtz?
there.
Dude, it's cool. I follow Holtz on Instagram and everything, and he's always posting stuff about like Team Israel. I think that stuff's sick that he's part of all that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they had a good run the past 2 years. He actually just finished up with that now, and he's kind of focusing on Game On and Holtz bats, and they're doing pretty well. So
yeah, I bought one of his bats from him last summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, because I was in AA, so we needed we would hit occasionally, and I was like, shit, well, I might as well get my own. So I reached out to him and bought one from him.
How was hitting again?
It was terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably seems terrible.
Dude, the one guy I faced was 6'10", and he was throwing like mid to low 90s, and I fouled off like 2 of the 4 pitches. So I was like, that's a win for me. So
yeah, I mean, I think the last time I saw pitching, it was probably like 82, 81, yeah. 82.
And even for Northeast baseball, it's like still kind of that's decent velo at that age. But yeah, dude. You were in where, high A all year last year?
So I started out in low A. I was in Visalia, California.
Okay.
And then towards the end of the year, I got the call up to high A.
Dude, that's always exciting. How'd that feel, like going through that mid-year, like getting a call up?
It was good. I mean, I went through a terrible, 3/4 of the year. A lot was kind of thrown at me and had to basically just push through. Getting that little meeting after the game saying like, hey, you're going up to Hillsborough. You're probably pitching tomorrow night. Definitely felt good. Yeah. It was different. So I started the year I was a starter, and I actually got moved to the bullpen, and they thought that it could kind of give me some more opportunities in the organization, and they thought, let's try it out. So got moved to the bullpen. I was in the bullpen for a week. I had like 1 appearance out of the pen. Kind of figured it out how to like warm up. I was a starter my whole life. So just
I was going to ask, when's the last time you even came out of the pen?
No, I never. Damn. I think once out of college, and it was like planned. So like I had still like 2 innings to like fully warm up as if I was a starter.
Mm-hmm.
So that was definitely a transition. And I was about to go into a game. I basically pitched earlier in the week. And then later in the week, it was like a tight situation. And they were like, be ready for tight situations. You're kind of going to be the guy in the next couple of days. And I was like waiting. I was like doing bands, like trying to get ready, and nothing. So then after the game, they basically called me in and they were like, hey, like, we wanted to call you in there. I was like, what? Like,
why not?
Yeah, why not? And they basically said like, well, we weren't actually allowed to because you're pitching tomorrow night up in high A. So I was like, oh, that's
sweet, dude.
Not to. Yeah, they did it well.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. I personally did not love the bullpen, but I mean, we don't really get too many choices when we get put in a position like that. Yeah. I really miss starting. If you get the choice, do you want to go back to starting? Are you getting comfortable with the bullpen?
Yeah, 100%. I would definitely rather start. I like the excitement of it, of coming in at a tough spot. There's not many times as a starter where you're going to be deep in a game when tied game and there's a lot of runners on and the crowd's like really into the game. It doesn't really happen as a starter. So I kind of like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But everything else, man, I mean, I would rather go through the lineup 4 times and then face like 3 hitters and be done.
I know.
It's like you go 1 inning and it's like, all right, we're bringing the next guy or game's over. It's like, well, I'm so used to facing so many more hitters throughout a lineup. So.
Yeah. I mean, I got lucky enough where I got put into like a long relief role. So like I could at least, still kind of have some kind of length out there. And then if we ever ended up with a doubleheader, I'd get the nod for the, starting the second game, which, it felt nice to be back in that setting. But I mean, the crappy part about our situation is that like, we just got to get comfortable with that.
They're gonna put us where they feel comfortable and whatever they think is going to be where we should be in the big leagues or where we can be. And we just got to kind of accept it and do our best in that role. So, I mean, that's the way I took it was, hey, if they think I'm going to be a mid relief guy, like you said, like I'm going to try to be the best mid relief guy there is and try to make it. So just kind of got to adapt and again, just kind of push through.
100%. Yeah. That's the mindset you got to have going into it. But hey, let's take a step back for a minute and talk about, what high school baseball kind of looked like for you and like that development process. Where did you go? Because you're a Westchester kid, right?
Yeah. I went to Tuckahoe High School. So tiny high school. My grade actually ended up having like 63 or 64 kids in my grade. So I mean, tiny.
Tuckahoe's that small?
Yeah.
Holy
shit. It was really small. So obviously it wasn't the best baseball at all. Tiny school, not much to pick from. We actually lost a lot of kids to Iona and Fordham. A lot of kids transfer there in 9th grade when high school starts. So slim pickings. It was honestly terrible baseball. Most of my like high school baseball was done in the summer. I mean, it's kind of like that in most like Northeast schools, but summer ball is where I kind of got like that competition aspect and kind of took it from there. But
yeah. And then, I mean, at one point, you end up on Fairfield's radar. What was that kind of process like for you? Because I know for me, it was stressful and I hated most of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's different than every other college kid because they're going out and seeing the schools and you're kind of just sitting back and letting them come to you in baseball aspect or just recruiting in general. I mean, again, it all happened in the summer. So I was going to different summer showcases and I was getting a lot of D3 offers. I was getting a lot of D2 looks and like money conversations were in there. And then no real like D1 like real looks of like, hey, we're going to offer you anything. I talked to a couple schools here and there, but it wasn't like real in-depth conversations. Fairfield was actually the only school and they offered me a roster spot. I'm young for my grade. So the decision was basically, I'm going to rather redo a junior year at, there's a couple schools in the area. I was rather going to go to like maybe Bosco or Brunswick.
Yeah.
So it was rather I was going to redo a junior year or I was going to basically commit to Fairfield. And I kind of had a discussion with my family, close friends, my pitching coach, and we kind of just decided that I think it was the right fit. And if I was supposed to make it, like it didn't matter where I was going to go, what path I chose, as long as I liked the school. I mean, I could put the work in and do it. So committed to Fairfield and went there, and it was awesome.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, it clearly worked out. I mean, you went from, just getting a roster spot to end up getting drafted as a junior out of there, which is, I mean, getting drafted at all is impressive, but getting drafted your junior year, I think is really tough to achieve. And I think that says something for how hard you work. And that's something I've seen a lot of firsthand with me and you always working with Slocum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, realistically, Slocum did so much for me in my career. I mean, I wouldn't be here without him. I mean,
yeah, me too.
You didn't really get to see me in high school. I mean, I can send you some videos and you will literally laugh. I have one
Dude,
video
I'm the
on my
same
phone.
way.
I have one video on my phone that anyone I show is like, dude, that's not you. There's no way that's you. And it was just hard work. And I mean, obviously trusting what he said, but putting in the work and really just like putting my head down and going for it. But when I was at Fairfield, I mean, I was not, again, I only had one roster spot offer. I was not a prospect whatsoever.
Mhm.
I mean, I was like 82, 83 in high school. My junior year, I scraped like a couple 5 and 6s. And then I got that roster spot offer. I think summer going into college, I touched an 88. And then my freshman year, I was like 91. So it happened, like I had a quick little jump in velo there. I don't know if I lost you. I know you're there. So I had a quick jump in velo there. And then there was a scout day my sophomore year that I touched a 94, and I guess coach made a call like, hey, to the Cape. And I was like, hey, can we get this guy a 10 contract?
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was basically just fired up that scouts were there. I was like, this is awesome. Let me try this thing as hard as I can. Went to the Cape, and that's kind of what opened the doors for me. If I didn't go to the Cape, I don't think I'd be here either.
Fuck, man. I mean, the Cape is a sick experience. I went there on a temp, and I was there for like a week and a half, something like that. But just meeting some of the guys there and like still being in touch with some of those people, it's such a cool spot and like such a weird, like, it's like this own like baseball corner of the world where you get to meet all these guys. And now that you're playing pro ball, you still see them around all the time.
They're everywhere. Yeah. It's really
everywhere.
Crazy. It's crazy how many guys from that team in like 1 year are in professional baseball right now. It's crazy.
It's wild. What team did you get to play for?
I was on Bourne.
Lucky, man. Yeah, I was on freaking Wareham. Not even the real Cape, just out on the outskirts.
Yeah, I mean, I was very close. I was actually on the outskirts. I wasn't on the bridge.
You weren't on the bridge?
No, I was like literally 2 minutes from there, from the bridge. So I wasn't. But
still, Bourne is a pretty cool spot. How long did you get to stay there for?
I was there for the whole summer.
Good for you.
Yeah, I ended up staying for the whole summer. I think it was like the only temp, if not one other, that I actually ended up staying for the summer. And I think we had like 19 or 20 temps in the beginning. So yeah, It was cool.
That is really special. I think that says a lot too. I mean, being invited there as a temp says something about your baseball skill. Being asked to stay as a temp, I think says a lot about who you are as a person. And there's a couple of guys that I was on Wareham with that they got asked to stay the whole summer, and they're great people as well. So I think that's a really, really impressive accomplishment to get,
Yeah, it was awesome. I appreciate it. I mean, it was an awesome experience. I mean, what I learned in that summer was tremendous. The people that you're with the whole time are obviously like top tier baseball players. Then just like that confidence that it gave me that next year, and even right now coming from Tuckahoe, being 60 kids in my grade, not really a baseball school by any means.
Yeah.
And then going to like Fairfield's considered like small D1. But then playing kids from LSU and Vandy and Texas and all these huge schools that you hear, like,
dude, it's intimidating, right?
Well, at first it's 100%, but then after I think it was like 2 games, I was like, it's
the same baseball game. It's the same exact game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I went through the same thing. I got there and I was like, dude, I'm a D2 kid. Like, people have even heard of my school. Like, I'm not on the map at all. And I realized, like, after a little bit, like, dude, I'm just as good as everybody else. Like, I can play with these guys, no problem. It's a really different. It changes your perspective a lot.
1,000%. I mean, you go from like those big D1 schools are like a different world.
Yeah,
because they're all you see them on social media now.
Yeah, they're on TV. They got all the sick gear.
Crazy.
Yeah,
and it's like technically I'm just as good as those guys, but I went to a tiny school. I didn't get that exposure, or I'm just a late bloomer. Like for me, I was purely like, obviously I went to a tiny school and didn't get that exposure in New York, but also like I didn't start throwing above 88 until I actually was in college.
I know, dude. I was in the same boat.
So I guess if I maybe redone that junior year, you hate to look back on things.
There's
and say,
a lot of what ifs. Yeah. There's a lot of what ifs. I think it's good though to be just stick with whatever decisions you made, because you made those decisions in that moment for a reason.
Yeah.
And things are working out so far.
Yeah. Things are going well so far.
Well, that's awesome, dude. You go to the Cape, you crush it. You get asked to stay the whole summer, and now you're going into junior year. Is this point, are you starting to realize the draft is, something that's on your map, that's achievable, that it's going to happen by next June?
Yeah. I started hearing some things, throughout that summer. It was funny. I towards the end of the summer, I had an advisor or an agent come up to me and he asked me, like, do you have an advisor? And I was like, I don't even know what that is. What is that? And he was like, all right, you definitely don't have an advisor then. So, and he gave me a card. I was like, I literally had no idea about the whole world of professional baseball and agents and advisors and all of that, and scouts. And do they approach you? I knew nothing. So I again, that the Cape showed me so much about what the process is of kind of going through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy process, but I think at the end of that summer, it was kind of this could be a possibility. You might as well fully sell out for this thing. Not that you haven't been selling out, but have the confidence in yourself.
You're pushing all your chips to try to make this happen. But that moment I like to call is the if to when moment. You stop saying oh, if I get drafted, yada yada, to go, oh shit, when I get drafted, it's gonna be fucking awesome. It's gonna be all my dreams coming true. During your time at the Cape you had that?
I would say the end of that summer, and then kind of when I went back to Fairfield that fall, when scouts really started reaching out to my coaches.
You start going into the locker room and you get the letters in your locker.
You get the letters, and then they come to start meeting with you, and it's all right. If I'm sitting down having multiple conversations with multiple different teams, this is starting to become more likely to happen, or you hope so. And then again, it just gives you that confidence going into that year that I do compete with these big schools. So when I face these normal schools, I should dominate these guys, and have a good year and hopefully get drafted. So,
and dude, you did what you had to do. You go out there, you get drafted. I was trying to find it. What round was it again?
15th
round. There you go. You beat me by 2, bastard. What was draft day like for you and the family?
10th, right?
Huh?
I said it's all the same after the 10th, right?
Basically, yeah. Basically. What was that like for you and your family?
It was awesome. I'm sure it's the same for you, but growing up, I was 15, 20 minutes from Yankee Stadium. So, I was at the games all the time. Yeah. Grew up a big baseball fan, and my family was all baseball fans. I've been playing since, I could even remember. And this has obviously always been a dream. I laugh growing up in elementary school, when they asked what's going to be your dream job?
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Lawyers and doctors. And I was baseball player. And everyone's oh yeah, okay, you're gonna be a baseball player. Yeah. It actually ended up kind of happening. So
yeah,
the dream come true. Obviously that moment was really special. My mom was like, we're gonna throw a party. And I was like, no. What do you mean you're throwing a party? No one's coming to the house. It's gonna be just us, and we're just gonna sit here and watch it. I was like, that's exactly what I knew. We're gonna throw a party. I was like, I'm not a first rounder. It's nothing like that. Gotta try to put it in perspective a little bit. They're obviously excited and really excited for me and the situation. But I was like, if I don't get drafted, I'm not having 40 people here.
Dude, that was my biggest fear.
Go home. It's not gonna happen. No, that's not happening.
Dude, that was my biggest fear going into it. I was just I couldn't imagine being there with all my friends and family, and all of a sudden I'm just all right, you guys gotta go. It's not happening. Yeah. So I had nobody at my house. It was me and my family. Mm-hmm. And I would check the draft tracker every couple minutes and just be fucking freaking out and panicking. And it drove me crazy. But as the moment gets closer and closer, does your advisor call and tell you it's going to happen, or is it just a surprise?
No, it was kind of a surprise. We had some talks with some teams on day 2. And then going into day 3, sorry, on day 2, I got a couple calls from teams literally saying, I think we're taking you here. And I was like, okay. And then it said like a random name. I was like, all right, sick. So that happened like a couple times. And then on day 3 that morning, I was basically woken up to a couple phone calls from some teams, and we were kind of discussing some things. And then I had an idea of kind of where it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I had a quick conversation with my agent, and he basically said, yeah, these are the teams that are like super interested. Just kind of be on the lookout for that. And then it was getting to the 15th. And then again, in the draft, you're told one thing of like, hey,
yeah, you're told a million different things. Yeah.
They have to tell you. So going into the 15th, I was like, I mean, it's got to be this one. Oh, the 14th, I was like, it's got to be this one. And nothing happened. And the 15th, I was like, all right, it's got to be this one. And then, so we had it like airplay to my TV, and my dad was swiping up Twitter like every 3 seconds on the draft tracker because it was actually coming up faster on that. So I was like just sitting on the couch, hanging out, and then he was like, oh, I think something's happening here. So then I was like, all right, who is it? And then it ended up being Arizona. So it was awesome.
That's awesome. That is a pretty cool way to go about it, way to experience it. I'm glad you didn't stress as much as I did. I didn't sleep or eat for like a week going into that. But that is pretty cool, man. Get drafted by the Diamondbacks. What's your first thoughts? Like, you just start looking up where all the affiliates are, so you're like trying to plan out where you're going to live basically on the road for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually, so my mom and girlfriend were doing that prior, because we got a couple teams that were like, these are the teams that are really serious, and they're looking at the teams, and some of the affiliates are kind of close.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care. Obviously, it's nice to be close to home, but I mean, realistically, it doesn't really matter. So I wasn't thinking like that at all, personally. When it did happen, though, and that was like the first thing my mom did was like, all right, where are the affiliates? And it was Montana, Arizona, California. There was one in Chicago at the time, which isn't part of the organization anymore, and Reno. So it was like all West Coast. And they were like, oh my God, this is we're never gonna see you, yada yada. But it ended up working out. I love where I am. So it honestly was a special day and something I'll always remember.
That's awesome, dude. That is really cool. Yeah, that's the one bad thing though I would say about being with Arizona, dude. You get stuck all the way on the West Coast for basically everything. I've been lucky with the Pirates, dude. It's basically all East Coast up and down.
The only thing, so this is what I've heard, and I'm not in this situation yet, but the one nice thing is when you make it to the big leagues, you only have to buy one spot. You're in one spot. Spring training, yeah. And the stadium is one spot. So I know some of the big leaguers, I was actually talking to one the other day, and he was like, yeah, like I have a place in Florida and New York. Like you have to buy 2 places. And then if you play, let's say for like whatever team, it's really, you're buying a place in either Florida or Arizona. And then you're buying like an apartment or renting somewhere wherever you're playing. So that's the one really good pro. I mean, Scottsdale is amazing.
Scottsdale is a really nice place to begin with.
Yeah, I can't complain at all about being in Scottsdale. So
dude, we got some guys that were on West Coast teams. Like one of my friends, he used to be with the Cubs, and he was telling me about like West Coast spring training, and it's just so nice because like Arizona is awesome, Scottsdale is awesome, the weather, the town, like it's just so nice, and then everyone's like 20 minutes from each other. Florida, it's like a lot of the teams are
really close. A lot of the teams are really close. I think there's only one that's kind of deep in Phoenix, but I mean, being in Scottsdale in spring training, that first year it was spring training 2020, right before everything got shut down. But yeah, we're not going to talk about 2020. That's that first spring training. Like it was really cool. You would go to restaurants and stuff, and there was big leaguers everywhere because everyone's in like a very short proximity to each other.
Yeah.
And Scottsdale is generally the place where everyone kind of goes to hang out in Phoenix. So kind of living there was really cool. And I'm looking forward to go back this spring training.
That's dope, man. That's sick. But yeah, dude, you brought up 2020 and spring training and all that craziness. Where did you go to train? I really I should have hit you up more during that time because me and a couple of guys were over at Iona Prep every day training, trying to get like
I
some kind of
wish.
baseball stuff in. Huh?
I wish. No, I got thrown off so many fields. I had cops called on me all the time, man.
Dude,
I mean, New
constantly.
York during like the heart of it, like New York was like really serious about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they still are today, but yeah, I was going to local fields. Anywhere I can find a fence. I had a bucket of balls. I was actually FaceTiming BJ because he was in Jersey.
Yeah.
And I was doing like FaceTime lessons and just throwing it to a fence, and then ended up buying a mound. And I live on a dead end, so I literally put the mound on the dead end, and I would throw bullpens to a high school friend. Shout out Rob, and he would literally catch me, and I was throwing in the middle of the street. But
Dude.
So this is something that actually ended up being a problem. I didn't put cleats on until my spring training bullpen 21.
No.
For a year and a half, I didn't even have cleats. I got kicked off every field I can get on. I mean, I would throw on like my lawn into the wall, but I mean, I was literally trying to figure anything out. It was a tough year, especially in New York and not being able to like go to Florida. I mean, I could have, but I didn't go to Florida. I didn't go to Arizona. So I mean, being in New York during that time to get that training, it was tough.
Dude, that is brutal, man. I've been lucky enough where I've been able to get out of New York every year around January. One year I went to Orlando, spent some time there to train. Last year I went to West Palm to train over at Cressie, which was a fantastic experience.
How was that?
It was cool. It's really cool walking around and you go, oh, hey, it's Max Scherzer. Oh, hey, it's Noah Syndergaard. Oh, hey, it's Corey Kluber. Like just everywhere. There's like just big league, like household names. I would say that like the one thing I didn't love is that if you, I would say it's a really great spot for big leaguers and first rounders because they don't really need to develop anymore. They just need to maintain and stay healthy, which is awesome, which is hard enough to do on their own. Cressie's a great place for that. I was looking for more of an option where I can, improve and get better and develop a little bit more. And I definitely learned things there. I definitely enjoyed my time. But it wasn't exactly the fit I was looking for. So maybe I'll go back and if I get better, but right now I'm still, trying to learn a couple things. I actually started working with Tread this offseason, if you've heard of them at all.
Yeah. I haven't worked with them at all, but I've heard some great things from some of my friends that went there. Like what are your main things? Like, I know for me, when I went to Cressie, I went after the Cape, actually. I met him in Cape Cod. He did, so in the Cape, they did this, it was kind of like a scout day where they did BP in Fenway, which was sick.
Oh, dude, I've seen that stuff before. That is probably one of the coolest things about the Cape.
It was sick. And our coach was like, hey man, we like the pitchers can come, but like, you're not going to do anything. So like the scouts like might ask you questions. And I was like, all right, if scouts are going to be there and you're given the opportunity, like, I can go sit and talk to one. Like, sure, I'll go. Especially we're going to be in Fenway. Like, it's cool. So I ended up going there, and there was like 15 of us total pitchers across all of the Cape that ended up going there. And they basically told Cressie to come and like work with the pitchers and talk to the pitchers. So we got like there was like 15 of us. I got like a little private lesson with Cressie for a little bit. They showed us like a full warm up, some arm care stuff. And I was kind of picking his brain after, and he was like, you know what, like come by after the season's over. We'll run you through a little assessment. So when I did that,
this is cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. He ran me, like himself ran me through an assessment. And I've heard his name 100 times growing up in terms of baseball training and stuff. So I was like, I didn't expect him to actually do the assessment. And they basically told me, they were like, let me ask you a question. Everyone has told you that like you're super tight and like don't really move well, right? I was like, yeah, I've kind of heard that a lot my whole life growing up. And they were like, yeah, you're actually hypermobile and you just need to get super, super strong. So just like live in the gym. So I was like, wow. Okay. So like him telling me that obviously opened my eyes a little bit of like, all right, I don't have to just focus on like mobility and stretching and all this crazy stuff. Like for me, knowing what I strictly needed to improve on was like, all right, I could put in the work to get stronger and do all that. But like understanding from that perspective, like actually what I actually needed to improve on my body was like huge for me. So if you had to put in, I'm going to kind of turn it on you though. If you had to say like, I'm going to improve on one thing, like what is your kind of thing that you think is going to like take you to the next level in terms of training or something that you wanted to improve on? Like you were saying,
I really think it's velo. I mean, so much of this game is based on velo. Like I think me and you both know just from pitching and watching other guys throw, like I learned very early on, like in college, I played with a kid who sat like 80, 82, but his breaking shit was like 60 miles an hour. It was hilarious to watch. And he taught me right there, you don't have to throw 100 to be good at this game. But it helps. And it's something that people in the front office can look. Yeah, it's something that people in the front office can look at and point and go, look, he is good because of X reason, because he throws hard. Mm-hmm. So for me, I want to make it to the big leagues and I want to win a World Series. So if I can throw harder, that's going to help out a lot with the first goal. Because I think, I throw like 5 pitches, so I'm comfortable with all of those. And I'm comfortable with, the action on them. Sure, they could be better for absolutely, but I think velo is, if I can unlock that last key, that last lock, then things are going to go the way I want to go, but we got to get there first.
Yeah, having velo in the back pocket is always nice. Especially, if you have 5 pitches that you feel for, and yeah, I've seen it in pro ball. I've been realistically COVID. It's 2 actual years. The guys that have velo are like instantly looked at way more. Way more. And I see, and I don't want to compare it to myself, but I've seen other pitchers that have way better stuff, like way better stuff. Mm-hmm. Even some better numbers on the breaking stuff on TrackMan and data, and like the way that hitters are looking at their stuff, like way better stuff. And the velo, it's like, oh no, you're up here because you throw 99, but you have no idea where you're going.
So have you heard of the kid named Joe Ryan?
I
think he made it to the big leagues this year with the Twins. He was in the Rays trade for Nelson Cruz.
Okay.
So I was in 2019. I was in high A, and we're playing against the Port Charlotte Stonecrabs. He's pitching. He struck out 8 of the first 9 guys he faced, throwing 90, 92. But every single fastball was going straight up. It was wild. Okay. I was sitting behind home plate doing charting that day. And me and the other guys were just like, yo, what is going on? Like, it looked like, remember in backyard baseball, the elevator ball, like you throw it and it stays down and then it just goes straight up.
Yeah.
It looked like that the entire time. And kids were just getting blown away by it. And we were like, yo, it's 91. Like, what is happening? Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those fastballs that doesn't make sense, but it just gets on you and goes straight up. And it was really cool to watch. But he's another example of like, the velo might not be there, but he's got the spin rate, he's got the vertical approach angle, or he's got whatever other factors, and
something
it works.
different. Yeah,
it's very.
We have 2 guys in our org that kind of have that like unicorn fastball.
Yeah,
I think on the TrackMan chart like goes to 30 as the max, and I think they sit at like 29 vertical. So that is
what they sit at what?
Literally like 28, 29. It's insane. And again, one of the kids literally is 90, 91, 92, absolutely blowing doors down. Like, it is insane. And you look at it like, if you didn't watch the pitch and just look at the hitter, it's like, all right, that man is facing Aroldis Chapman right now. But it's just because of the rise in the ball. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, that actually reminds me. Did you ever play with what's his name? Wesley Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah, I was with him this year.
Were you really?
Yeah, he was at Hillsborough when I went to Taya.
Dude, that's sick, dude. He was I remember we both graduated high school the same year, and me and him, like I started the game for, like, we had a New York City like all-star game, like for the Catholic schools versus the public schools. And he started for the public schools. I started for the Catholic schools, and he was throwing.
He was like 98 back then, right?
Dude, he was throwing like 98, but he had also like blown his arm out, like pitching for the championship for like what school is that? George Washington. He was pitching for the George Washington school in the Bronx. And I just realized that he also played for the Diamondbacks, but he was a absolute beast back then. Is he still just throwing fuel?
Yeah, I think this year he was like 93-ish.
Okay.
His slider is like his pitch though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just remember that was out of nowhere. I was like, oh my God, that's right. Wesley Rodriguez plays for the Diamondbacks, but
yeah. I met him. I met him spring training 2020, very briefly before everything got shut down.
Yeah.
And then I saw him again next spring training, and I didn't see him the whole year because I was in California. And then when I went to Hillsborough, he was there, and I was with him for the rest of the year. No, Wes is a good kid.
that's awesome. That's cool. It's fun. I feel like when there's guys like from that little Westchester, like New York City area that make it, it's something special because I feel like we're not supposed to make it because baseball's not that like overwhelming there. You know what I mean? It's
weird. There's a couple guys more recently that out of Westchester are kind of making it. Obviously, like JoJo, but
yeah.
But there are definitely more kids from Westchester that are making their way into pro ball. We really didn't hear about it too much. Like growing up,
I feel like growing up, there wasn't a ton of guys, and now like it's slowly becoming more and more of a thing. And let's give Brian Slocum some credit because he's probably a big part of that. Yeah.
This is true.
Yep. But hey, man, let's wrap this up. You've been awesome. 2 questions I'd like to ask everybody before we go. If there's any advice you can give 16-year-old Austin, what would you tell him?
Oof. Just trust yourself, have confidence in yourself. At this point, like you already know that the work you put in is going to be there, and that you have to do that. That's kind of a given. But just like the confidence piece is really important. So just trust your stuff, have fun along the way. I would just say have fun and trust yourself.
Sweet. That's awesome. And then the last question I like to ask everybody, when are you and the Diamondbacks going to win the World Series? Because that's the ultimate goal of this all right now. We're trying to win the World Series. When are you and the Diamondbacks winning the World Series?
Let me let you know, the Diamondbacks have some absolute dogs right now as prospects. Really? So hopefully soon. Yes. Give us a year or two. In the next 2 years, you're going to see a lot of prospects from the Diamondbacks and the big leagues. World Series, man. Let's be optimistic. I want to say let's go like 3-4 years.
Sweet.
Let's be super optimistic.
2025, 2026.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have to play us in the NLCS first of all. So good luck there.
That'll be good. I'll see you there, man.
I'll see you there, man. Awesome, dude. Thank you so much for coming on. Shout out your social media so people can go find you on there.
It's just Austin J Pope 18 on Instagram. I don't have anything else. That's all I got.
Sounds good. Thanks, friend. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.